Hello everyone. As I have recommended you to read this novel before coming in the class, and we have discussed already about certain things about this novel. So this is a novel. Here you can see it, Crime and Punishment, written by a Russian novelist Fyodor Dostoevsky. So we have read this novel in earlier classes as well. We have discussed some things from certain aspects of this novel as well. So this is the final discussion of this novel in our class, as every one of you have read this novel, and now we are going to have certain listening assignments as well as writing assignments. Similarly, we have to discuss certain features of this novel, what we have learned from this novel, or what is our opinion, or rather your opinion about morality, about human beings, about limitations of a person. So we will discuss these things in this class. First of all, let me introduce you briefly, or let me rather recall what we have learned previously. Basically, there was a protagonist in this novel named as Raskolnikov. So he considers himself a genius. He considers himself like a Napoleon, like a superhero, like a Ubermensch of Nietzsche. He says that there are two kind of people in this world. One, the morality, one with slave morality, and one with the master morality. So actually this was a concept rather later on developed by Nietzsche as well. So here Fyodor Dostoevsky said that there are two kind of people in this world. One who are bounded by the rules, who are bounded by the certain moral obligations, and certain have certain limitations. But there are other kind of people who don't have any kind of limitation, who can do whatever they want to do. There are no obligations, there are no rules for them. So our protagonist Raskolnikov consider himself from this kind of personality, from kind of personality who consider that there are no rules, no limitations to human being. So what did he do? He considered himself a Napoleon. As you know that Napoleon conquered Europe and murdered a lot of people, or rather won many wars. What actually happens in war, you all know that our enemies are killed by us, or we got killed by our enemies. This is war. So actually what Napoleon did, killed many people. So our hero Raskolnikov considered himself Napoleon, and he went into an old pawnbroker's room, and there he killed that old lady, considering that this creature, this old lady, was insignificant in the meaning of this universe, and he, being a superhero, have no moral limitations, no conscience to do illegal things or immoral things. So this was the case, and after murdering, he robbed her, he robbed the treasure that she had, and then he hid the treasure under the stone. So what next? He tried to hide himself from the police. The actually investigations starts, and he tried to escape that investigation, and he was successful in escaping that investigation. There was no doubt on him. There was a doubt about him, but there were no proofs before the police. And another man commit before the police, or admit that he had committed that crime out of nowhere. So our hero Raskolnikov get escaped from the legal prosecutions. So what happened next? He suffers. He suffers from the conscience. He suffers from inside. He suffers from his soul. Because he has committed the murder, because he has trespassed those boundaries which were obligatory for human beings, or what Kant says, categorically imperative upon the human beings. So he transgressed those. He went through a moral dilemma, he went through suffering, he went through agony, he went through self-torture, and at the end of this novel, he goes to the police station and commit that he is the real murderer. So he was sentenced, jail for certain years. So this was the novel. This is the moral system that our writer Dostoevsky tried to discuss, that human beings are not free from certain limits. There are limits upon human beings that are obligatory for them. They cannot trespass them. So this was the thing. So what you have to do, What you have to do is, now I am going to divide you in groups of 5, and you have to come here after discussing among yourself that what you consider about other characters in this novel and what you consider about the protagonist and all other characters. You have to discuss those characters with one another, and then you have come to stage and try to discuss along with your group members. You have come to stage, and then you have to describe what you have discussed or what you have learned or what your feelings and emotions and experience are about these characters. So this is your listening assignment. And secondly, as I have recommended you, whenever you are going to read this novel or when you have read this novel, I recommended you to underline, to highlight those words, those phrases, those expressions which were new to you or which were borrowed from Russian language or were from foreign language. So hope so every one of you have highlighted those words and phrases and different or difficult words or expressions. And secondly, you have to note certain type of phrases or sentences that were written in this novel that were complex for you to decipher. So the activity is that you have to make a list of those difficult words, and then you have to check those words from dictionary. So this will increase your vocabulary, and when you note certain sentences, different grammatical expressions or conditional tenses or sentences that were prolonged in this novel, so then you will have then there is a chance that you will hone your capacities and you will hone your skills, reading and writing skills. So you have to copy those phrases, not actually phrases, you have to copy those sentences, and following that structure you have to make your own sentences like that was written in this novel.